All right, everyone. Okay, today we are streaming in both YouTube and LinkedIn. Let's see if we are getting the feed and both the links. Okay, I don't see anything yet in LinkedIn or YouTube. Let me wait for a moment. Okay. Okay, I think we have something on LinkedIn, but I don't see anything in YouTube. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna wait for a few minutes or a few seconds and see if it comes up. Okay, okay, okay. Everything seems to be okay. Um, all right, let me see if I can see this on YouTube. Okay. Okay, I think it's fine. Okay, cool. All right, there is something streaming to YouTube. But okay, all right, cool. So I'm also trying a new setup in OBS where I have the intro scene separately and then this full screen camera. Previously, I used to have only picture in picture mode where I had my. I'm sorry. I slept very late yesterday. That's why my eyes are also kind of swollen. So yeah, this is for those who are. Let me hide this. Sorry about that jarring background music. So yeah, for those who are watching this for the first time, especially the ones on LinkedIn, I'm just putting it out at the risk of ruining the non-existent brand that I have on LinkedIn. I thought about it for I think a few hours. I wanted to say for a few days, but really it was more like a yeah, I was thinking about it yesterday. Should I live stream on LinkedIn? Should I not live stream on LinkedIn? What would my audience think or my network think? Will it ruin my brand, which, like I said, is non-existent on LinkedIn? But anyway, so this is something that I've been doing since last week. As you can see, this is episode number 7. I did 6 live streams last week, one every day, and I did it twice on Friday, one in the morning and one in the evening because we were doing, creating content for one of our videos, right? So that's all about this live stream. This is mainly for me to find content for my UX videos, while in the at the same time I also try and explain concepts in more detail, right? So yeah, that's about this, and mostly this is I use this to bounce off my thoughts off of I used to say YouTube, now off of both YouTube and LinkedIn. Feel free to comment, if you have any thoughts and ideas and suggestions about whatever I am talking about on these live streams, and yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this so far. I hope I continue to enjoy this, and this is something that I'm doing new, and I'm planning to do this or improve this setup more iteratively. All right. So anyway, let's go into today's live stream. So something that I try to do before this live stream is have some idea about what is the content that I am going to talk about. And usually this goes on for about 40 to 50 minutes. Um, but today I think it'll be much shorter because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the setup to live stream in both YouTube and LinkedIn. Now, yeah, today's topic, I'm reading this book, Interaction Design Beyond Human Computer Interaction. I strongly recommend everyone, both beginners and experienced folks, to read this book. It's a very long read. It's a very thick book. It's about 637 pages, as you can see here. I've been trying to complete this book for the past one and a half month. but I am unsuccessful. As you can see, I have only completed half of the book, but the rest of the book is pretty straightforward. It's all about, so far they have covered theory, not nothing that really gets you to a tangible output, right? I think all the chapters that follows after this gets you to that tangible output. If I see data at scale, I think I've read a lot about this already. Even though I mean, what I tend to do these days is, even though I know or have read extensively on topics like this, I still go through that chapter, at least read them quickly or skim through them so that I'm not missing anything that may be there in the chapter that I've not come across. All right, so that's what I'll probably do for data at scale. Discovering requirements, they in fact actually talked about this in detail in one of the earlier chapters. This is kind of a redundant chapter, and the chapter is data gathering. Right, so I don't know how different this discovering requirements will be from data gathering. And I think there was one more. Okay, yeah, that was the one. And designing prototypes and constructing something. Let's say what the full, yeah, and construction. Interaction design and practice, introducing evaluation. I think this is more about how to validate uh, your ideas, or maybe after release how to evaluate your solutions, right? So all of these things are topics that I am already familiar with. So far it has been things, 50% familiar, 50% unfamiliar topics. Um, so yeah, let's so something that I wanted to talk about today was, how do you know, while you are data gathering, that you have done enough data gathering and you can move on to the next step, right? There are some interesting frameworks that they have put out in this book. So I thought I'll talk about it first. I should find it. Let's see. Okay, interviews. All right, let's see if I structured interviews, semi-structured. Okay, working with different kinds of users. Yeah, those smiley meters are interesting. I don't recall exactly. Okay, planning and conducting. Okay, I think I may find something here in planning and conducting. So basically, talk about when to stop taking interviews or when to stop your research. Right, and how can you know that you have found out what is there to found out? Enriching the interview. If you are not able to find that topic, I'll park it for tomorrow, and so that I can find it first before the live stream and then talk about it. Choosing and combining techniques. Let's see. Data gathering. Okay. Provides an overview. Advantages, disadvantages. Okay, this is all good. Involved. Collecting case study. Okay. 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 This is good. In-depth activity. Okay, summary. Let's see if they talk about it in summary. Okay. Alright, yeah, they're not talking about it in this. Data analysis, they say what kind of analysis tools to support interpret. Okay, data at scale. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not able to find that particular piece or section in the book. So I'll find it before tomorrow. Let's see if something else that we can talk about in today's live stream. All right. So I recently read this social interaction um, chapter. Let's see if there is something that we can talk about. There was an interesting example about voice assistants. Yeah, let's see, cognition that is more familiar. Um, yeah, I mean this is the format for these live streams, right? I try to find the content that I want to talk about during the live streams, and then ultimately, if I feel that it is worth talking about in a shorter format, I try to curate more detail about that topic, both inside of the book and outside of the book. And just to make sure the audio is streaming to both LinkedIn and YouTube. Um, right, I checked it on YouTube. Let me check it uh, in LinkedIn. Okay, all right. I think it is streaming, but I'm not sure if there is audio. Let me. Okay, cool. Yes, it is streaming. All right, the audio is going through. Cool. So now coming back to the topic, where were we? Cognition frameworks. Yes, attention, clear goals, information presentation. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, these are all obvious things, multitasking and attention. So, when I said obvious things, I was talking about this particular example where they talk about how to group things. So, if I take this information presentation, right? So, they talk about these two examples. Let me try and zoom into this. Yes, yeah. Um, yeah. So these are two examples, right? Now, this one is the bad example, and obviously this one is the right example. This is this is from a study conducted, I think, um, five, yeah, in 1997, where they had participants look at this particular screen. They had a printout, or I think they did it on computers, and asked them to find out numbers of a particular branch. As you can see, it's not also evident that these are all of the list items that you see here belongs to the same hotel, right? And when you actually read it, it's more evident that it's from the same Bedford Motel hotel. And yeah, they were asked to find, I think, telephone numbers from this list. One set of participants is asked to find information from this one, and another set of participants are uh, asked to find information from this one. Right. So now the findings of this. Let me zoom this out so it is not jarring. Okay, and I think they also talk about the way information is delivered in ignorance, blah blah blah. Way the information tasks are precise, required specific answers, and okay, I thought they also put out the study. Basically, they found out that this is much more easier and faster to find the content for the users than this example here. Right, that's the reason I said it. These are all obvious things. But again, it gives an the one interesting thing for me, it was, even though it was not new, one interesting thing for me was how easy it is to test. Right? So they also added some more examples in other chapters where basically they take a printout of this. This is, of course, white on black, and they take printouts of this black text on white paper, and they just give it to audience, right? You don't even need a computer or a laptop or a mobile phone to do these tests. And they hand these out to users and ask them to find information from that printed uh, piece of paper. And that was interesting. Um, so yeah, now multitasking and attention. Okay, let's see if there are any cognition frameworks that we can talk about. I think there was something interesting in the memory part. Let me see if that is listed as a subsection. Cognitive frameworks. Okay, having developed and predict user behavior based on theories of cognition. Okay, mental models. Yeah, I think this is something that more common. So mental models are, let's see, people when needing to reason about a technology. Okay, broadband engineers have a deep mental model of how the Wi-Fi networks work out how to set them up and fix them. In contrast, an average citizen is likely to have reasonably to use Wi-Fi network. Okay, with cognitive psychology, mental models have been postulated in constructions. Yeah, I am slightly conscious about this being live streamed in LinkedIn because there are so many people that I know personally, and I feel like they might be judging me. Uh, I felt kind of more relaxed and yeah, free flowing when I was streaming on YouTube. But yeah, let's see how I feel about it. Maybe something that I need to improve. Just don't care about what my peers and people, especially some of my ex-bosses, think, I guess. So yeah, anyway, coming back, I tend to also digress if this is the first time you are watching this live stream. But anyway, cognitive psychology, okay, internal construction of some aspect of the external world that are manipulated. All right, this, okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, here they talk about how, what do you call it? Freezer, okay, in the package, all right. So electric, honey, dun dun dun. Okay. All right, so they talk about microwaves and thermostats, right? About how they work and what is usual perception of customers who use microwave and thermostats. I did not read in detail about microwaves, so I'll talk about thermostats, right? So when people were asked, I think the question was you are entering the house, maybe after your office or even after a vacation, and you want to set a temperature for, I mean, you want to set a temperature and say, 20, 22 degrees, 20 degrees, whatever the temperature is, right? And I'm talking about Celsius. I think I am talking about Celsius. Right. So now, the common mental model of customers and users is when they set the thermostat to, let's say, something like 8 degrees, 10 degrees, 9 degrees, their perception is that the house will get to the temperature that they want to faster. All right. So, for example, okay, let me open. Um, okay, which one do I open? Okay, I'll open a new Fit Jam. All right. So now let's say I'm a customer and I want to set the temperature. Okay, for some reason this is not working. Okay, yeah. So the temperature that I want is, let's say, 22 degrees, 22 Celsius, 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know how to type degrees. Now the actual perception, sorry, the actual temperature that I am setting is, let's say, 10 degrees Celsius. Now, the perception in this case, let me increase the text size. Yeah. So, my goal is this, right? 22 degrees, but I am actually setting this temperature. Now, when asked why the customers were doing this, the users were doing this, is they thought when they set it to 10 degrees Celsius, the time to get to 22 degrees Celsius is faster, when in fact, that's not how thermostats work. All right, so the time to 22 degrees. is the same regardless of you set it to 22 degrees or you set it to 10 degrees. Maybe the recent models are different, but by at least when this study was done, all the thermostats in the market work like this. They put out a very constant stream, or they, regardless of what is the temperature that is set to, whether it is 15 degrees, 10 degrees, 2 degrees, minus 3 degrees, they always got to all of these temperatures at the same time. For example, let's say the time to 20 degrees, the time to 18 degrees is, let's say for this is 20 minutes, right? Let me make this large. Okay, yeah. And the time to this is, let's say, 30 minutes, for example. And the time to 18 degrees is, let's say, 40 minutes, right? And regardless of whether you set it to 10 degrees or 22 degrees or 18 degrees. So the time to this temperature, and let's say the current temperature is, I don't know, 30 degrees, right, of the house. So from going to 30 degrees to 20 degrees, and 30 degrees, 30 degrees to 22, 30 degrees to 20, and 30 degrees to 18 remains the same regardless of what you set up on the thermostat. But the mental model of the users, the perception of the users is that when they set it to 10 degrees, it gets colder much faster. And then once it attains 22 degrees, or the degree that they are comfortable with, they just set it back to that temperature. Now, what this results in, right now, we are talking about what is the impact of this mental model. Obviously, before Nest, none of the thermostats had any transparency into how much time it takes to get to a certain temperature. Right, and because of that, people set it up to 10, 9, whatever, much lesser degree than they wanted, or if they wanted a warmer temperature, much higher degree than what they wanted, right? And often users forget when it attained that comfortable temperature that they wanted, and that resulted in a lot of overusage of electricity, right, and a lot of wastage of electricity. Now, what Nest did is they put out or they brought some transparency into how this works and showed the time it takes to get to a certain temperature. Right now, this helped, and of course, they also um, had some training when customers bought their Nest thermostat and told them, this is how thermostats work, and this is not how thermostats work. And whenever you want a desired temperature, set it to that particular temperature. Right, you don't have to overshoot it in order to achieve the temperature you want faster, and that's not how thermostats work. So this is the difference between the mental model. A customer's mental model is when I set it to a lower temperature or a higher temperature, it gets to the temperature that I want faster. But an actual engineer's mental model is, it gets to the temperature at the same speed, right? And or even any designer or a product owner's mental model is that. And because of this, sometimes for any product, right, the designers, product owners, engineers, they tend to assume the customers also have the same mental model and assume the same level of understanding, and does not, most of the times, I'm not saying this is all the time, most of the times, there is no transparency, and there is a lot of assumptions that goes on when developing a product, and ultimately when it is released, you have these negative impacts, right, because of the lack of understanding of the user's mental models. And that's why it is important to understand how meet your users and how they approach a certain scenario, a certain goal with your product, right? So that you can iterate on your product and make it better, right? And of course, reduce any negative impact or wastages that can inadvertently happen through your product. So that is an example of mental models. Now, let's see what other cognitive frameworks. So this is one cognitive framework that they talk about. I think there was one more cognitive framework, yeah, gulfs of execution and evaluation. This is quite popular with the people who read this particular one, design of who have read this design of everyday things by Don Norman. I think this is like a bible for every designer, and I strongly encourage everyone to read this book, even if you are not a designer, if you are an engineer or a product owner who is ultimately wanting to be an entrepreneur or a creator, right, or a product owner at some point, right? Yeah, I think I said entrepreneur already. For any digital product or even physical products, this book is just amazing. So yeah, I highly recommend everyone in the product space to read this book. It's very informative, and Don Norman is the one who came up with this gulf of evaluation and gulf of execution. Now let's see what this means in that book itself. So there are basically seven stages of action. All right, I'm forgetting the seven stages. So let me take the help of Google. So it is if let me try and figure it out from my memory. So I'll just switch to a different tab. It's so that I'm not looking at the tab. So first is there are two stages, two broad stages in this seven stages. One is planning, and the second one is execution. That hence the term Gulf of Evaluation and Gulf of Execution. Now, in the planning stage, the first stage is the goal. The user comes with a goal to your product, and they weigh the different options that they have, which is the second step. The third step is, I may be wrong here, we'll go to Google search and validate this. And the third step is specifying the steps for all of these different um, options that they have. Right, there is always more than one way to accomplish a goal. So first step is the goal. Second step is what are the different ways I can achieve the goal. Third step is what are the specific steps for each of these ways or options to get to the goal. Now the fourth one is I may recall only six, but let's see. Now the fourth step is actually executing either one or more than one of those options and ways. And the fifth step is trying to understand what happened after you performed those steps. Now, this is actually broken down into two sub steps. One is perceiving what has happened. Two is interpreting what you are seeing, what is the feedback from the system that you are interacting with, right? So let's recap all the steps. First is the goal. Second is the number of ways you can achieve your goal. Third is actually specifying individual steps uh, to your goal. And fourth is actually performing those individual steps. Fifth is perceiving what has happened. If there is any feedback, if there is no feedback, why is there no feedback? That is the fifth step. Sixth step is interpreting what has happened. If nothing has happened, the interpretation is confusion. Now, the last step is comparing the result to your goal. That's it. Seven steps. Right now, if let me show you guys so you can follow it easily with the diagram. Right. Yeah. So this is a much better diagram. Let me open this in a new tab. Okay. So yeah, goal, you plan, you specify, you perform. Okay, they're not talking about actually. Okay, yeah, goal is the first step. Yeah, this is kind of confusing. The steps that you must be worried about is this. Forget about world. So first step is the goal. Second step is the planning, which is what are the different ways I can achieve. Third step is the steps, and then performing, perceiving, interpreting, and comparing. All right. So what is Gulf of evaluation and Gulf of execution? Now let me search for it so that we can get to that section much faster. Okay, all right. So this is from the index. I think that I remember finding a diagram for this. Maybe we'll be able to find it in the book. Okay, we're not able to find it in the book. Cool. So yeah, if your users are not able to do any of these steps, right? Or do especially plan and specify. Let me copy this and put it in Figma, right? So if I take these three things, this forms the Gulf of evaluation. Basically, I have a goal, and I am, let's say, my goal is to order food, and I am opening Zomato or Swiggy or any other food ordering app and I'm confused. I'm not able to maybe find the restaurant that I want to find, or there is nothing there. Obviously, Zomato and Swiggy have excellent user experience, but imagine a food ordering app where they just randomly list a restaurant in a completely different location. Let's say I am in Chennai and they are listing all the restaurants that are in New York or somewhere in some city in Germany and UK and whatnot. You get the idea, right? And I'm not able to select my location and find restaurants in my location, right? That's an example of one. I'm not even able to figure out how to get to the goal. Right, it's not about how to perform the goal. I'm not even able to figure out how to get to my goal. So that's your gulf of evaluation. I'm evaluating or planning how I am, the steps to my goal. Right. So this entire thing forms gulf of evaluation. So let me type this gulf of evaluation. Right. Now the second item, which is the gulf of execution, is I think this sometimes you can also, I mean, include compare. So this forms your gulf of execution. Yeah, gulf. So I now understand the steps, right? I'm able to see the restaurants. I'm able to see the um, items that I probably want to order, but I'm not actually able to place the order. For example, many times when I um, look at the restaurant from where I want to order, it says no valets available. Right, no nearby valets, or the restaurant is closed for service. Now, I am able to do until this step, but I'm not actually able to perform the steps because of whatever reasons, right? And this is again, maybe let's say somebody is logging on to a website and or they know the exact page that they want to get to and the actions that they want to do. For example, I want to apply for a college and I have the link to the application page and I click on the page and I land on the page, but it says 404 error or 500 internal server error. Even though I am halfway through the step, I'm not able to complete all the steps, right? So that again is Gulf of execution, and this is one way to see if your product has any gaps in both planning and specifying the steps. This also plays into how easy it is for users to learn your product, right? When a complete stranger looks at your product, whether it is easy for them to figure out. what to do to get where they want to get inside your product. So that is one, planning and specifying, and being able to understand how to get their roles, and see if there is enough information, see if your design and experience is tailored for that. And number two, once they figure out how to do it, are they able to do those steps, right? That is your gulf of execution. And I mean, there are many things that you can do to measure Gulf of execution and Gulf of evaluation. For Gulf of execution, if you have one or multiple paths to a particular task to complete a particular goal, you just either show that to your users, right, and ask them to perform those steps in a one-on-one setup. This could be either in person or remote. And the other way is what do you call uh, data, right? Basically, I'm trying to find the right term for this, implement analytics or tie analytics. I'm not able to find the right term for this, but yeah, basically implement analytics on your product and see if there are 10 steps to complete a goal, or if there are 3 or 4 steps to complete a goal. What is the dropout rate, right? And the entire journey, and at each journey, how much percentage are your users dropping off? And maybe in the second step, there is a huge drop, let's say 50-60% of the drop. Then maybe something is wrong with your second step, right? There may be a lot of friction or something. Users are not able to understand something there, and they are just abandoning the task in step two and three and so on. So that's how this helps. And again, this we were talking about cognitive frameworks, and I don't know if there was any chat. I heard. Okay, all right. Um, cool. I heard something like a chat sound notification. So yeah, this is good. Yeah, we have been live streaming for about, I guess, 30 minutes. Only 16 minutes. Okay. Huh. That sounds wrong. I don't know why it has been only 16 minutes, but I think I'll stop here today. We will start the live stream earlier tomorrow. Usually, like I said, this goes on for 30, or actually around 40 minutes. And in fact, the second stream on Friday, which is episode 6, I actually did it for 1 hour. So yeah, from tomorrow we'll try and do it for around between 40 minutes and 15 minutes. Sorry, 50 minutes, and start it early. I hope this was useful, and yeah, today was kind of completely very new, and it's a different feeling, and it's interesting for me also because like I said, this is the first time I'm streaming on LinkedIn, and I know there are so many people that I know there, and probably are judging me. But I want to get comfortable with this live stream, because this is something that I am doing for both my personal and my career growth. And hopefully, find something through this. Uh, so yeah, so this is great, and I'll meet you guys tomorrow. And I'm also trying to figure out a time that I can do this consistently. So far, I've been doing this before 10 a.m. and I started it at 8:30, 8:15, 8:20, even at times at 9 o'clock, and it went on for 40, 50 minutes. And I usually end it before 10 a.m., which is when my work starts. So yeah, and let me see if I can find throughout this week consistent time, so you guys can also know in advance when is this, or I can schedule in advance the right timing that when I'm going to start. Uh, want to do it at 6:30 a.m. IST, but I don't think it is possible practically. But yeah, let me try and start it at 8:30 every day. But yeah, that it might take a few days for me to get there. But hopefully by the end of this week, I think I'll get there. Cool. With that, see you until tomorrow, and bye bye.